It's time to start. So welcome to those who've signed on. My name is Lorna Vanderhaeghe. I'm a women's natural health expert. I've been researching and writing on nutritional medicine now for 35 years. I have several books, 13 books on nutrition. I forgot that my first two books, one was called The Immune System Cure and the second one was called Healthy Immunity. I wrote those way back in 1998 and they're very timely now as well. Tonight, we're going to talk about the connection between hormones and weight loss. And my new website is lornahealth.com. So if you would like to sign up for my newsletter, you can go there and do that. So the first thing I want to talk to you tonight about is about food and diet and the food that we eat and how it can help us keep our hormones balanced, maintain a healthy weight. And while I was putting together the slides for this talk, one of the things that really stood out when I was reading all of the weight management research is that 95% of people who lose weight by dieting, so that's when you go on a specific weight loss program, not a new way of learning how to eat, but a specific weight loss program, 95% of people who go on those weight loss dieting programs will regain all the weight they've lost and more within 1 to 5 years. So literally that kind of diet, restrictive diets, they just don't work. Nobody can go on a diet that isn't going to work for the entire family. Whatever I recommend, your kids are going to like, your husband's going to like. And so it's going to work for the entire family. And really the word diet is a 4-letter word for the food we eat. So let's eat the kind of food that is going to make us feel fabulous. That's really what the goal of tonight's talk is to teach you more about food, the food that you eat, the supplements you can take, and why we gain this weight and why it's so hard to lose. So there's several factors that make us hold on to this fat. And one of them is metabolic rate. So you know how some people you'll say, well, they have a fast metabolism. They can eat anything and they don't gain weight. Well, really, metabolism or your metabolic rate is really the rate at which you burn calories at rest. And so the great news is we can speed up that metabolic rate by the foods we eat, or we can slow it down. And of course, other hormones in the body can affect that metabolic rate as well. So the hormones we're going to look at tonight are things like thyroid and estrogen and cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, serotonin, which is your happy hormone, leptin, which tells you that you're satisfied, insulin, fat storage hormone, ghrelin, which is the hormone that makes your tummy growl when you're hungry, and melatonin. So these are all hormones that have interplay that cause us to gain weight. Digestion is another big factor. Constipation is also a factor. A slow transit time, that means how quickly food moves through your digestive tract. Some people have quick transit time. Other people have very, very slow transit time. It can be related to your thyroid. Lots of drugs cause weight gain and terrible weight loss. So very hard to lose weight if you're on antidepressants. So we're going to talk about that. The cortisol connection is a big one in regards to all of the stress that we're under. And that cortisol can literally change the structure of your fat cells, especially around your belly, and make those fat cells resistant to fat loss. And I'm sure for a lot of people, you're going, yeah, I know all about that. Lack of exercise, but you want to have the right kind of exercise. And I'm a fan of making things easy. So I want you to do exercise you can do at home that's only going to take you 10 minutes that you can utilize in your everyday life so that you never have to make the excuse, well, I never got to the gym. The quantity of food we eat and the quality of food. And by the way, genetics are the least important factor. So you can't blame your parents. And if your parents are overweight, you definitely do not want to eat like them. So that's another key factor. These are the healing foods, and I'm going to talk about them over and over again. Everything that's green is great. And so you want to have lots of green vegetables, good clean sources of protein. I'm going to talk a lot about protein because we don't eat enough of it. You'll hear me talk a lot about blueberries because if you're on a weight loss program or you want to balance your hormones, you can't consume a lot of sugar. So that's another key factor. So we're going to talk about the type of food to eat, Unfortunately, we eat a lot of these foods: chips and cookies and breads and pastas and fast food. And remember, when we take our children to these restaurants, we're the ones who's making the decision about what they're eating. So let's talk about protein, because we need protein, and we need an adequate amount of protein to lose weight. And for the women who are on the call tonight, we do not eat enough protein. That's the bottom line. Protein is things like fish, chicken, beef, lamb, pork, protein powders, eggs, high protein yogurts, things like that. But we need to have adequate amounts of protein. Protein is required to repair and maintain all the cells in your body. If you exercise and you don't get enough protein, you actually lose muscle, and muscle is what's going to help us burn fat. For all the people who were asking me questions at the beginning about, I plateaued, I'm not losing weight anymore, I'm this, I'm that, we need to get our muscle level up so that it helps us burn fat, because muscle is your friend. Every time you eat a meal, your metabolic rate goes up. Think about the guy, if you've ever sat with someone who's eaten a big steak and then you see them start to sweat or perspire, it's because their metabolic rate's gone up. Literally, their fat burning furnace went up. And if you eat a high protein meal, it raises your metabolic rate by 25%. If you have a full protein breakfast, so no carbohydrates, just protein, that will jumpstart your fat burning furnace, and it will hang in there burning fat for up to 5 hours. So protein is really our friend when it comes to weight loss. Protein also helps regulate the water balance in the body, so it reduces edema. Protein is needed to make all of your hormones and neurotransmitters. And neurotransmitters are the things in your brain that make you feel happy. Protein also strengthens your immune system. Make sure when you're buying protein sources, though, when you're in the grocery store, you want wild, free range whenever you can. Protein powders that don't have sugar or gluten or soy, or make sure they're pesticide free. You want good, clean protein sources. That's very, very important. And protein curbs your appetite by controlling that hormone ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hormone that makes your stomach growl. And when you eat protein, it actually controls appetite. It stops sugar cravings. It also balances your blood sugar. So how much protein do we need? Well, first off, I want to tell you that the egg is a perfect protein. One egg has 6 grams of protein. We compare all other proteins to the egg. So if you're a sedentary person, you sit in front of a desk all day and you weigh 130 pounds, you need 40 grams of protein. So I did this little chart that came out of Leslie Beck's book. So if you're sedentary, that means you don't exercise. You take 0.36 grams of protein, multiply it times your weight, and that is how much protein you should eat in a day. And when I did this for myself, I was shocked at how little protein I was eating. And as you start to age, this becomes very, very important, because you need that protein to help maintain your muscle mass. Otherwise, you develop things like sarcopenia, which causes your skin to hang on your body, your muscles start to atrophy, you start to look like an old person. So you need protein, and you need good sources of protein. And the program I'm going to teach you today is protein, healthy fats, and lots of green veggies. And when you follow that eating program, your brain is going to feel better, you're going to have more energy, you're going to have mental clarity, and you're not going to gain weight. You just won't if you follow that program. Then I want to tell you, what is a carbohydrate? Because often people will say to me, I don't eat carbs. And then I say to them, well, do you eat vegetables? And they go, yes. And I'm like, well, vegetables are a carb. So carbohydrates are the sugars, starches, and fiber found in fruits, vegetables, grains, and milk products. And most people don't realize that milk products are a source of carbohydrate. And when you take the fat out of a dairy product and make it low fat, no fat, you increase the carbohydrate count and you gain more weight when you consume them. So if you are that person who sent the message earlier who said, look, I am gaining weight, I'm plateaued, I'm not losing weight, or you really want to have a good jump start on weight management, then my recommendation is for the first 6 weeks to really cut back or cut out a lot of these sugary, starchy, fibery kind of carbohydrates that cause us to gain weight. What would some of those look like? Things like chips and crackers and biscuits and cookies and pasta, the wheat-based pastas, and breads. So reducing that. And during COVID, a lot of people learned how to make bread. So we call it COVID-15 because a lot of people put on 15 pounds during the first lockdown, literally because they were consuming more carbohydrate-like foods. So you want to eat the green carbohydrates. You can have as many green vegetables as you wish. Big bowls of green vegetables. They don't cause your blood sugar and insulin to go up. They're low on the glycemic index. They keep blood sugar and insulin in control. So when we're talking about maintaining a healthy weight and keeping our hormones balanced, we've got to keep that insulin in check. When insulin goes up, estrogen goes up. When estrogen goes up, you get more belly fat. So keeping your carbohydrate consumption to only the good, healthy carbohydrates will go a long way to keeping your weight managed. And when you buy dairy products, buy full-fat organic dairy. You do not want to have the environmental estrogens that are found in commercially produced dairy. And you want the fat because the carbohydrate count is down when you eat full-fat organic products. So whipping cream in your coffee, without sugar, of course. And if you're buying whipping cream at one of the drive-through coffee places, they put sugar in the whipping cream. So you want to use the whipping cream that doesn't have sugar, full-fat yogurt. And remember, you could take that full-fat yogurt and put a scoop of protein powder in it. And then you've got, 20 grams of protein or 10 grams of protein in a cup of your yogurt, and you've now increased your protein count. I like things like zucchini pasta instead of the flour-based pastas. Fruit is sugar. So remember that when you consume fruit, it is a sugar. And if you're trying to lose weight or you plateaued and can't lose weight, the only fruit I recommend people consume is blueberries. And that's until we get you to your ideal weight. And the reason why is because blueberries cause less of a blood sugar spike. Remember, when you eat food, your sugar goes into your bloodstream, then insulin is secreted. Insulin's job is to push all that sugar into your cell to get burned up like a furnace. If you consume too much sugar, then it sits around in your bloodstream. The body keeps pumping out more and more insulin, but then insulin stores it all as fat. So we really want to look at our sugar count that we're consuming in healthy foods too, because, fruit juice really is not for most of us over the age of 40. Good fats, and the fat story, thank goodness, for a decade, all we heard about was no fat, low fat. The story's changed. It's all about good fats now. And you want to have adequate good fats because good fats provide you with more than half the body's energy needs. Your brain needs good fats. You need those good fats for cholesterol and heart function. And so what are they? Things like extra virgin olive oil, fish oil. I personally use this Nutiva MCT oil as well. I use the Omega Nutrition organic virgin coconut oil. Butter is awesome. So make sure you're buying grass-fed butter, which is high in CLA, which is a fat that burns fat. Avocados are amazing. And that little blue flower, for those of you who've heard me talk in the past, is the borage flower. And the seeds from that plant, we press them and we get a fatty acid called GLA. And GLA is great for beautiful skin, but it also helps us lose weight. So it has other added benefits as well. So we need to have good fats. So remember at the beginning, I said protein, protein, protein. Now it's good fats, and you want to make sure you get adequate good fats. And then, when we look at fats, good fats make you feel satisfied. They improve your blood sugar and insulin. They also enhance our mood. fat in your mouth actually sends signals to your brain saying, oh, that feels good. That's the reason why people like those creamy kind of textures on their tongue. And good fats are your friend. You have to think about fat in a whole different light. Never eat corn oil, soy oil, safflower oil, canola, which is genetically modified rapeseed oil, peanut oil, margarines. We should never consume those, and make sure you read all the salad dressing labels, because it is amazing how many so-called healthy salad dressings have these bad fats in them, and you do not want to consume these bad fats at all, and you want to consume more of the good fats, especially when we're looking at weight management. So one of my favorite supplements is CLA. It is a fat that promotes fat loss, and it occurs naturally. Well, it used to occur naturally in milk and meat that were animals that were grass-fed, but now a lot of our cows are being grain-fed, so they're not, the meat and the milk from those cows does not contain CLA. But CLA is a fat that burns fat. Humans cannot convert fats to CLA, so we have to consume it. And they've done some very good research using CLA. And one of the studies that I love is in postmenopausal women. And in this study, it was a 90-day double-blind placebo-controlled trial. They had two groups. They told one group of these postmenopausal women, do not change the way you eat, don't change your exercise, take 5,000 milligrams of CLA per day. And on average, those women lost 7 pounds without changing anything, just taking 5,000 milligrams of CLA a day compared to the placebo group. And they saw a 20% decrease in body fat. Really important about this is that CLA also causes you to gain less fat back. When people do gain weight back, they don't gain as much fat when they take CLA. And think if they would have exercised, eaten protein, green veggies, and healthy fats, they would have lost even more weight and maintained that weight. So here's the key thing with CLA though. You have to take 5,000 milligrams a day. If you take less than that, it doesn't work. So make sure you read the label of the product you buy, that it actually delivers 5,000 milligrams. Usually you have to take 5 capsules a day to get 5,000 milligrams, but it's one of those clinically researched fats that helps you burn fat. And they're also doing research with CLA for breast cancer treatment. So, which is interesting as well. So there's going to be other added benefits from that particular fat. This should be just standard that we don't consume sugar on a healthy diet, that we're not consuming high fructose corn syrup. And the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found the consumption of fake sweeteners and fructose is a major cause of obesity, prediabetes, and diabetes. And when the liver metabolizes fructose, it favors the production of fat or the conversion of a carbohydrate to a fat. So we definitely do not want to be consuming fructose or high fructose corn syrup. And I shared a post that my daughter did on sugar the other day on my social media site that you might want to go and listen to, because sugar is hidden in many names, and you want to become a great label reader to achieve optimal health. So although fructose is low on the glycemic index, that means it doesn't cause your blood sugar to go up. It doesn't stimulate insulin. So the sugar stays in the blood, and that's not a good thing. And also they found that fructose increases aging, it causes fat storage, and I think it totally has to be eliminated from all foods. The sweeteners I recommend if you really like sweet are things like xylitol or stevia. And you can get very good quality product now that does not have a funny aftertaste that you can try. And remember, alcohol is a pure sugar. So we have to change the way we think about alcoholic drinks as well. So if you think about 1 glass of wine is 1 piece of cheesecake, 2 glasses of wine is 2 pieces of cheesecake, 3 glasses of wine, and you've now eaten half a cheesecake. And if you start to think about the way you see foods, it'll be easier to say no, or maybe you have sparkling water in between so that you don't drink so much, and really reduce your sugar consumption. Because when you consume sugar, It causes your insulin to go up, which then causes your estrogen to go up, which then causes you to get more belly fat, more belly fat, and more belly fat. Intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is something that I've been doing for a very long time. I actually was doing it before I even knew that it was called intermittent fasting. And there's many different ways to do intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is designed for your body to use up all that excess body fat. That's really what it's about. So if you're that person who has plateaued, or maybe you just can't budge the belly fat, intermittent fasting could be the difference between you losing that belly fat and not. And so the benefits of intermittent fasting, although they are great for increased fat burning and for weight loss, intermittent fasting has been found to lower blood sugar and insulin. So it's great for people who are trying to balance their blood sugar. It's the only thing that's truly been found to extend lifespan. It improves mental clarity, so you think clear. Your cholesterol gets improved, type 2 diabetes improves, plus you eat less calories. So the method that I use is that I don't eat after 8 o'clock. So I consume my food before 8 o'clock. I stop eating at 8 o'clock, and then I don't eat again till 11 o'clock in the morning. And you can have a coffee with whipping cream in it. It does not cause you to break the fast. They did a research study showing that that's okay. And it works very, very well for me. And after a couple of weeks, you'll just feel like you have so much more energy, and you've now dropped a whole bunch of additional calories that you would have eaten if you started way earlier in the day. Then there's the 5-2 method, where you eat normally for 5 days a week, and then you take 2 days off with a 500 calorie day. Then you can do the eat, stop, eat program, where you eat normally for 5 days and do 2 days of full fasting. Or you can do the alternate day fasting. So one day you eat, the next day you eat less than 300 calories, whatever works for you. And for some people, intermittent fasting won't work, but intermittent fasting is a way for you to jumpstart your weight loss program if you are one of those people who questioned at the beginning about plateauing on a weight loss program. And I also wanted to tell you that Rihanna is on the call as well tonight on this webinar, so that she can help answer questions. So if you have questions, you can type them into the question and answer box or the chat box, and I'll answer some at the end, and you may see Rihanna answering them during the talk. Estrogen belly. When we were teenagers, estrogen gave us women these great curves, but too much estrogen and we gain all this belly fat. And we really see this around age 40, when estrogen starts surging and we pack on weight around the middle. And I think what's really happening is the body saying, hey, you're heading towards menopause, so we're going to store all this estrogen as fat. And unfortunately, it's a nasty process, because you can gain a lot of estrogen belly in the decade before menopause. So women see this happen in their 40s and 50s. Plus, we're not only making estrogen, and our fat cells make estrogen, but we're getting estrogen from the environment. So this is why I tell everyone to eat organic food, because pesticides fit right into your estrogen receptors. Also, the reason why I tell people to eat organic dairy products to reduce your estrogen load from the environment. When you use cosmetics and skin creams, make sure they're free of parabens, because parabens fit right into your estrogen receptors in the body and increase your estrogen. And we are estrogen dominant in North America. We are eating foods with estrogen. We're exposed to estrogen in plastics and cosmetics and pesticides. And estrogen accumulates in our fat tissue over time. And then those fat cells get bigger and they produce more estrogen. And the reason why the Canadian Cancer Society tells people to stay in a healthy weight range is literally to keep all this estrogen in check. And when your estrogen levels are high, your progesterone drops, and then we end up with depression and anxiety and insomnia and not sleeping, and more belly fat as we become estrogen dominant. So how do we get rid of this belly fat? Protein, green veggies, healthy fats. That's your foundation. The nutrients that I like for belly fat are things like indole 3-carbinol and sulforaphane, calcium D-glucarate. Indole 3-carbinol and sulforaphane you find in cruciferous vegetables. Calcium D-glucarate you find in fruits and vegetables. Health Canada's actually approved claims for weight loss for green tea. So drink green tea, take green tea extract. Spices like curcumin and curry spices, they're also great for helping to reduce your estrogen load. I had a product called EstroSmart that you can use, which has all of these combined together. And then two of my other favorite nutrients for getting rid of belly fat are Dchiro inositol, and you take 600 milligrams per day, and berberine. Berberine at 500 milligrams 3 times a day has been found to be as effective as metformin for keeping blood sugar and insulin balanced. So that's pretty exciting. Drugs. So antidepressants are probably the worst drugs for weight gain and stubborn weight loss. And, you know, back in 2002 or 2004, the Women's Health Initiative study was halted where they told women not to take hormone replacement therapy because of increased risk of cancer and heart attacks and strokes. And what happened at that time is doctors started prescribing antidepressants in record numbers. So we saw this decline in hormone replacement therapy prescriptions and this huge spike in antidepressant prescriptions. And hormone replacement therapy and SSRIs, antidepressants, can cause weight gain. And some women experience dramatic weight gain on SSRIs, antidepressants like Prozac. Some women put on 40 pounds in a matter of 6 weeks. So, I mean, we really have to look at these drugs when you truly need them, you need them. But a lot of women and men are being prescribed antidepressants when there would be other things that would be better. For example, one of the drugs for depression that does not cause weight gain is Wellbutrin. And 5-HTP, which is a natural product, is prescribed for mild to moderate depression. And there are lots of other natural mood enhancers as well. So if you're somebody who's on the webinar tonight, who's on antidepressants and hasn't been able to lose weight, there's ways that we can get you off those antidepressants, move you into some other products that are going to help you deal with your mood, but also help you lose weight. So I love 5-HTP. It has hundreds and hundreds of studies for moods, anxiety, and depression. It's been shown to stop carbohydrate cravings. It reduces anxiety. It improves mood. It shouldn't be taken by those on antidepressants, but we use 5-HTP to help people wean off their antidepressants. So as you're coming off the antidepressant, we increase the dose of 5-HTP. And the dosages range from 100 to 200 milligrams 3 times a day, with a maximum dose of 600 milligrams for food cravings, especially sugar cravings. And why do we crave sugar? Well, when your serotonin, your happy hormone, is low, your body craves sugar. So you eat all the sugar, your serotonin goes up, but sugar is a terrible fuel for serotonin. And then the serotonin drops like a bullet. And then there you go again, you're craving more sugar, your serotonin goes up, drops like a bullet, you crave more sugar. So this is the cycle that happens. And how do we break that cycle? Protein, 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 healthy fats, 5-HTP, things that are going to be better for you than consuming sweet, sugary items. And stress and cortisol, you know, this is another big challenge that we have right now. I don't think people have ever been this stressed as they have been over the last year. And chronically elevated cortisol actually changes the shape of your fat cells around your middle. And when cortisol goes up, it also fills in your progesterone receptors, and you don't sleep and you have more anxiety. So we've got to find ways to keep our cortisol levels in check and in balance. And especially because if you have this chronically elevated cortisol, you get belly fat weight gain. Your cortisol goes up and your DHEA drops, and DHEA is your anti-aging hormone. It's also the hormone that is related to keeping you having adequate muscle. So that stress hormone, when you feel that rush of stress or that tummy ache because you're stressed, your cortisol is spiking. And when you have high cortisol, you fall asleep fine, but you wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning wide awake and you can't fall back to sleep. It's just one of the worst things for belly fat weight gain. And your adrenals are these 2 little glands. They sit on top of your kidneys, and they are your backup hormone system when you go through menopause. The adrenals help you deal with stress on a daily basis. When your adrenals become tired or exhausted because you've just been under too much stress, you get weight gain. You get insomnia with nighttime waking. That's when you wake up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, wide awake. You have low energy, you have difficulty handling stress, you have sugar and salt cravings and caffeine cravings, lots of inflammation, sore joints. And, you know, around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you have that slump where you'd rather go to bed, but instead you have coffee and cookies to get you going. But in relationship to this talk, when you have that chronic high cortisol, you get belly fat weight gain and resistance to fat loss. So how do we fix this? Deep breathing exercises where you do the breathe in for the count of 4, hold for the count of 4, out for the count of 8, and do that over and over again throughout the day. Meditation. My favorite app on my phone is the Calm app. So I love it. It's got all kinds of great things to help you de-stress, and you've got to sleep. So what nutrients do we use for this? Things like magnesium bisglycinate. That is the only kind of magnesium that I recommend, and you take 200 milligrams at bedtime. Ashwagandha, which calms everything down. Melatonin. So I'm going to talk about melatonin. You take a tiny bit, 1 to 3 milligrams, not more than that. Do it sublingually under the tongue. GABA, which helps you calm down. Theanine. But find a combination of these things that works for you to help you deal with stress and anxiety and get you sleeping at night. So let's talk about sleep, melatonin, and weight loss. And I've been a proponent of melatonin for a very long time. Since my early 20s, I've been taking it every single night. And melatonin has also been found to speed up fat burning, which results in a higher metabolism. And they did research in postmenopausal women. So people who sleep have higher melatonin levels, and that helps to accelerate weight loss because it jacks up your human growth hormone. And that's why people who sleep have better weight loss than people who don't. And nighttime waking combined with the high cortisol and no melatonin secretion causes you to have more weight gain. So melatonin levels are also much lower in the winter because it's not sunny out. And then we gain more weight in the winter. And I never realized until I was doing research for tonight's talk of this very clear connection between winter weight gain and melatonin. So they did a study in postmenopausal women where they gave them, I think it was 5 milligrams of melatonin, although I think it's a bit too much. And they had better sleep over 24 weeks and they had weight loss. Another study found that low dose melatonin, 1 to 3 milligrams per night, increased metabolism and aided weight loss. So here's the thing, even if you don't think it improves your sleep, melatonin has health benefits for protecting the body, improving the immune system, helping you to maintain a healthy weight. And it has a thermogenic action in the mitochondria, so it helps you burn fat. And melatonin also regulates insulin sensitivity and it's anti-inflammatory. So I take 1.5 milligrams every night. I take one of those little 3 milligram sublingual melatonin and I break it in half. And I take 1.5 milligrams every night regardless. And I do it for other health benefits. Thyroid. I think before I set up for the talk today, I probably got 200 emails about thyroid. We have a huge problem with thyroid in Northern Canada, in Canada in general, and the Northern US states. And that is because we have an epidemic of low thyroid. So the problem is when you go and get your thyroid tested, you have to know the number. So the test that you ask for is called a thyroid stimulating hormone test. And do not let them tell you it's normal, because the normal range in the doctor's office is too broad. You want to ask what number your result is. And we want your TSH number to be below 2. If it is above 2, that is when you get weight gain, stubborn weight loss, your hair falls out, you have dry skin, you get headaches, you are freezing all the time, you have terrible constipation, you get awful menopause symptoms. And I think that a lot of our weight loss problems, especially in women, are due to the fact that they are suffering with low thyroid that is yet to be diagnosed. So fluoride blocks the uptake of thyroid hormone. So only buy non-fluoridated toothpaste, non-fluoridated mouthwash. If you live in an area with fluoridated water, get a water filter. Make sure your thyroid is below 2 before you start a weight loss program, because so many people get frustrated. They have a TSH of 4.5 and they can't lose any weight, and they feel like they don't have self-control or they're doing everything wrong, when really it's their thyroid that is causing the problem for them in regards to not being able to lose weight. So some of the nutrients that I recommended for stress, like ashwagandha, work beautifully for the thyroid. Ashwagandha helps the conversion of T4 to the more potent T3 thyroid hormone. And you need a great multivitamin with minerals, with a little bit of potassium iodide and some other minerals like selenomethionine, which help your thyroid work properly. And here's the thing, first meal of the day has to be protein, 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 because your thyroid will love the protein. The tyrosine found in protein is used by your thyroid to make thyroid hormone. So getting that thyroid in balance is just, when my thyroid, I get my thyroid test every January, and I do it every year and have done it every year for about 30 years now. So I have all of my thyroid tests, and I know that when my thyroid is at 0.9, I feel great. I can eat what I want. I don't gain weight. I have energy, and my hair is nice and thick. So get your thyroid checked and ask for the number, and you want your TSH to be below 2. It's absolutely key for proper weight loss. Exercise. Okay, we all need to exercise. Why don't we do it at home? So my favorite exercise is rebounding, and that little image at the top is a rebounder. And for those of you who have balance problems, they even have a bar you can hold on to. I don't have a bar on mine. 10 minutes of rebounding is equivalent to 20 minutes of fast walking. So guess what? During the news or your favorite TV show, when you're really thinking about eating popcorn or chips or something not good, get on that rebounder and bounce. And as long as you don't have urinary incontinence, it's actually a lot of fun. And it's a great way to get some exercise. And then wear Velcro weights. So the image at the bottom has a pair of Velcro weights on this girl. You can get them for your wrists as well. And then lift weights in your bathroom before you jump in the shower. That's the other thing you want to do. So there's no excuse not to exercise. These are things you can do at home. They're simple, they're easy, anybody can do them. And they'll help you get that jump start on that metabolism so you can burn these things faster. Skin tags. I just want you to know that skin tags are not a cosmetic problem. They're actually your body telling you that you're pre-diabetic. So if you have 4 skin tags or more, you better be concerned, and you need to change your diet to protein, green veggies, and healthy fats, reduce alcohol intake, and take that glucosmart and berberine every day to get your blood sugar and insulin into the normal range. And people have heard me talk about Dchiro and inositol before. It's found in glucosmart. There are over 30 human clinical trials. It's for insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes and prediabetes. It stops belly fat and weight gain. And it also enhances serotonin, our happy hormone. And I would do 600 milligrams if you're under 165 pounds and 1,200 milligrams if you're over 165 pounds. But it works awesome. If you have a glass of wine, take Cortisol at the same time. If you eat a cookie, you could do the same thing. So here's just some of my weight loss tips. Eat protein for breakfast. What does that mean? An egg, a chicken breast, a protein shake, protein powder in yogurt. And I always say to people, write down the 6 sources of protein that you love, a can of tuna, whatever it may be, but write a list of the protein that you like and make sure that you consume adequate amount of protein every day. Throw out all the white foods in your house, white pasta, white rice, white bread, white sugar, all of it's got to go. Walk 30 minutes a day or 10 minutes of rebounding. Eat spicy foods. So cayenne pepper actually raised metabolism in people, so they burn calories better. Chew your food until it is liquid. Do not swallow chunky food. There is no carburetor in your stomach. Eat full-fat organic dairy products, not low-fat dairy products. It's another important one. You've now learned a lot about your hormones that are contributing to weight gain and how to get them back into balance. Eat on the side plate. You know, the dinner plate is really too big. The dinner plate is only for people who are ditch diggers and aerobics instructors. The side plate is probably about as much food as we really need, especially if we're not doing a lot of working out. And, you know, to build muscle, the more muscle you have, the more fat you burn. So isn't that great? The muscle burns the fat for you. You don't even have to do the work. And drink water throughout the day. If you really like starches like pasta, put a little bit of pasta on the plate with a lot of meat and veg on it. And choose keto pastas or whole grain over the white flour pastas. Use the zucchini pasta I talked about. Eat yams over white potatoes if you love potatoes and have to have them once a week. Dense breads like rye bread. Remember, alcohol is a pure sugar. Fruit juice is a pure sugar. So if you're making that shake in the morning and you're putting in a cup of mango and a bunch of coconut water and, you know, you're loading up the calories in there. And you need to sleep and relax to keep your cortisol in check. My new website is lornahealth.com. And if you want to email me, you do so at info@lornahealth.com. You can sign up for my free online newsletter and enter to win a free nutritional consultation with me as well. And for those of you who sign up for the newsletter, you're going to get my 6-week eating plan for healthy weight management sent to you as well. And I want to answer some questions. So I'm going to go through, we've got a lot of questions. I'm not sure which ones Rihanna has already answered. I'm pretty sure Healthy Planet has a special promotion. I did not get an email about that. So if someone from Healthy Planet wants to let me know what the discount is, I can point that to people as well, but you go to the Healthy Planet website. Okay. We're going to send the recording out to people as well. So if you found that you have plateaued, so you've been on a weight loss new eating plan, let's call it a new eating plan. Hopefully you like your new eating plan, so you're going to keep eating like that forever. And you found you just can't lose weight. I would try the intermittent fasting. So that would be step 1. Just try it for 2 weeks. The other thing I would do is really look at your food and just eat protein, fat, and green veggies. And if you won't be hungry, I'm telling you right now, you will not be hungry if you eat protein, fat, and green veggies. And the fat is important because the fat is what's going to satisfy you. So protein, good fat, and green veggies. Do it for 2 weeks. Just commit to 2 weeks. Cut out the sugars and the fruit. Only eat blueberries if you really want to have some sweet. And do the little exercise program. You know, 10 minutes of weight-bearing exercise in the bathroom in the morning. You know, I have a set of weights that sits there. Get yourself some Velcro weights. Wear them when you're vacuuming, cleaning, washing your car, doing whatever, or just going for a walk. The other one is after dinner, go for a walk. Leave everything and go for a walk. And if you get into that routine, you'll start to notice that you're losing weight. Get your thyroid checked. It's absolutely essential. And somebody asked me if it's possible to lose weight when your estrogen is high. Sure, it absolutely is. And add some of the estrogen controlling nutrients. Eat more cruciferous vegetables. Take indole-3 carbinol and sulforaphane. You could always use EstroSmart. A lot of the bodybuilders, male bodybuilders, are taking EstroSmart because they have this great six-pack, which no one can see because they've got this layer of fat sitting on top of their six-pack. So if you have excess estrogen, there are nutrients you can use to bring your estrogen safely back into the normal range, and add intermittent fasting to that, and you will really start to notice that your belly fat is disappearing. The website is lornahealth.com. And somebody's asking, I was taking DIM for a year for hormonal acne and just stopped, and I'm worried my acne might come back, but I'm eating a ketogenic diet, which is keeping my acne at bay. Absolutely. Well, a ketogenic diet is exactly what I've been talking about. Protein, fat, and green vegetables. And the reason why your acne isn't coming back on that diet is because your hormones are balanced. If you want to balance your hormones, eating that protein, fat, and green veggie diet will go a long way. Then when you add in some of these nutritional supplements, you're going to have this superpower happen with your hormones. Things are just going to start shifting. And it doesn't matter if you're 18, 40, or 70. This works like a charm, and it only takes 2 weeks to kick in. And most of us have 2 weeks of staying power that we can make that happen. Yes, if you have polycystic ovarian syndrome, it's a little bit harder to lose weight. Adopt a diet. You want to go on GlucoSmart and berberine. So on the slide where I had the 600 milligrams of GlucoSmart and the 1500 milligrams of berberine, that's 500 milligrams 3 times a day. That will work wonders for you to help you get into more of a weight management, fat burning mode with the polycystic ovarian syndrome. And the goal is, of course, to put the PCOS into remission so that you can have normal functioning hormones, because there's lots of other problems associated with PCOS. At my website, Lorna Health, I have a whole article on polycystic ovarian syndrome that you can read as well. What are natural ways to have a period without taking birth control pills? Well, just so you know, if you're on birth control pills, what's happening is you take estrogen, 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 and then you stop taking it, and then you bleed. So you really aren't having a normal period. It's forced because you stop taking the hormones. So the body says, okay, let's shed the uterine lining. And the best way to fix that would be to go on EstroSmart, and you take EstroSmart for a month while you're on the birth control pills. Then you stop your pills, and then you take EstroSmart. And you will start to notice it usually takes about 2 full menstrual cycles for you to get a normal cycle back again. You may need to add a little bit of Vitex, but absolutely, birth control pills do not give you a normal period. You are getting a drug-induced period because you stop taking the hormone, so the uterine lining sloughs off. But that I would not call a normal period. Oh, if you're losing hair, there are 2 reasons for hair loss. One is low thyroid, so get your thyroid checked, and you want your TSH to be below 2. That is a very important number to remember. And the second reason for hair loss is low iron. So you want to have adequate amounts of iron in order for your hair not to fall out. And what would that be? Well, you want to have a ferritin, which is your iron storage number, of at least 70. Just going to check the time. So we have 10 more minutes to answer questions. And I think I have 477 questions, which I probably won't get through. But the good news is that I will be contacting people, and you can also contact me through info@Lorna Health if your question doesn't get answered this evening. Oh, if you want to know what to take to enhance progesterone for headaches, it's Vitex, Vitex, and you want to take magnesium bisglycinate. So those are the two for hormonal headaches that happen before the periods. Yes, EstroSmart is safe if you're trying to conceive. And if you're on fertility treatments, I would not take any supplements that the fertility doctor does not tell you to take. That's very important because a lot of supplements can interfere with the drug treatment when they're trying to do IVF and fertility treatments. The 6-week eating plan is free. All you have to do is sign up for my e-newsletter online. And the newsletter is going to be great because you'll find out about more lectures that are coming up. You'll also be able to listen to podcasts, and you can come on and do live Q&A on my radio show. There's a whole bunch of really neat things that are going to happen. Yeah, everything is free, which is good. Yes, you'll get a copy of the presentation emailed to you. Okay, so what if you're underweight? So, you know, I had an experience where I lost a lot of weight a few years ago and I dropped below a healthy weight, and it was so difficult to gain weight. You have to eat a lot of calories to get above that set point. And I felt like I was constantly eating in order to do it. And you also have to make sure that you're not under a lot of stress, because for some people, when they're under stress, they gain weight. For other people, when they're under stress, their cortisol is so high, they lose weight. So stress reduction is really important for both when you're trying to lose weight and if you're one of those people who's trying to gain weight. And if you're trying to gain weight, you want to eat your meal and take a protein shake. So for people who are trying to lose weight, they might want to use the protein shake instead of the meal. But for people trying to gain weight, you have to eat additional calories, and you just have to force yourself to eat enough calories to gain weight. And once you get to a certain point, you'll start to then add the pounds back on. I have elevated cortisol, but my doctor said to reduce stress. Yes, cortisol goes up because we're stressed. Cortisol can also go up for other reasons, but generally it's due to stress. So stress reduction is important. The nutrients that you use to deal with elevated cortisol are things like ashwagandha. And I cannot say enough about ashwagandha because there is so much great research on this herb for balancing cortisol, for helping your thyroid, and the adrenals and the thyroid talk to one another. So when you're under a lot of stress, your adrenals get low and then your thyroid goes low. So ashwagandha is one of the herbs that I recommend for stress reduction. Things like magnesium bisglycinate, as well as rhodiola, theanine, GABA, all of those things that we use specifically to help people get their stress under control. And literally listening to the Calm app when you're driving in your car before you go to bed at night, practicing that breathing exercise, that little breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 8. You do that throughout the day. They have shown people's cortisol levels just go down. It's free. It's just breathing. You don't have to buy anything. That is how powerful breathing is for normalizing cortisol levels in the body. Magnesium won't make you wake up in the middle of the night unless the magnesium is cut with something that isn't so good. If you're waking up in the middle of the night, so say you're that person who falls asleep fine, but you wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, that is because of your adrenal glands. That is because your adrenals are tired. And what's happening is in the middle of the night, your cortisol level is spiking at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and telling you to get up. And for some people, they feel like they could literally get out of bed and get up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Of course, that's not good for us. And so when you have that nighttime waking, it is caused by adrenal glands. And so what do we use to calm the adrenals down? We take things like rhodiola, magnesium bisglycinate, and we take them in the afternoon, so before dinner time, and that will give the body enough time to bring that nighttime cortisol level down. But that nighttime waking, the middle of the night waking, which is the absolute worst, I call it the witching hour, that is caused by your adrenals and stress. The magnesiums are very different. So magnesium bisglycinate crosses the blood-brain barrier, calms you down, and is utilized by the cells. Magnesium citrate, magnesium sulfate, they're laxatives. They work differently. They pull water in your colon to flush everything out. So this is the reason why I tell people to take magnesium bisglycinate. It's just so much better for you than the other magnesiums. I'm just looking to see if some questions here that I may have missed. What is the best form of progesterone to take? The oral one, you take prometrium at bedtime, that's for sleeping. I find it to be one of the best progesterones. It's a natural bioidentical progesterone. It's also covered by most prescription drug programs, so that's also a good thing. And it's a bioidentical natural progesterone. So that would be the one that I would recommend. Magnesium is also for sleep. Melatonin is for sleep. Ashwagandha is for sleep. 5-HTP is for sleep. There are I think I have to do a talk just on sleep because there's a lot of questions about sleep. Anyways, thank you so much to everybody who came on this evening. And, you know, go to lornahealth.com, sign up for the e-newsletter. We'll be sending you my 6-week eating plan for healthy weight management. Also, you can keep track because next month I'm going to do another webinar with Healthy Planet as well. Thank you very much, everybody. I so much appreciate you coming on this webinar, and you'll be hearing from me. Take care. Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on the call this evening.